Hi, welcome back to Wallflowers. So today I wanted to talk to you about two petitions, actual parliamentary petitions, and they're both calling for council tax to be abolished and replaced with a much fairer system. And one of them has gained serious momentum. And I'll tell you how many people have actually signed the petition so far a little later, because I think the actual number will surprise you. So let's start at the very beginning. What is council tax? And why are so many people frustrated with it? Most of us pay it and we don't really question it. The bill arrives, we pay it. It funds our bins, roads, local services. That's the deal. And on paper, that sounds pretty reasonable. But here's the thing, the banding system. The system that decides how much you pay. It's still based on property valuation from 1991. That's 35 years ago. Some of you watching this weren't even born, and I wasn't even married by then. The world has changed since then beyond recognition. But the system that decides how much you pay for your local services hasn't. And it gets worse because the bands themselves aren't even fair. A band H property, the highest band, pays only 3 times what a band A property pays. 3 times. But a band H home can be worth 10, 15, 20 times more than a band A property. So the person in the mansion is paying a tiny fraction of their property value, while the person in the smaller home is paying a much bigger chunk of theirs. That's not fair. That's not a fair tax. That's an aggressive tax, and it hits the people with the least the hardest. And I see this in the comments all the time. So many of you have told me you're struggling, you're choosing between heating and eating, and that's gone on for many years now. You're using food initiatives like myself to stretch your budget, and then a council tax bill pops through your letterbox and it's gone up again, and then again and again, every single year. The average band D bill in England is now over £2,300 a year. That's nearly £200 a month going out of people's pockets before they've even bought food. Something's got to give. So here's where it gets interesting. There's actually 2 parliamentary petitions live right now, and I want to tell you about both of them. The first one was started by a woman called Jessica Wilson. Her petition's pretty straightforward. It calls for council tax to be abolished entirely, and for local councils to be funded through national taxation instead. So through income tax, basically, which is based on what you actually earn rather than what your house is worth. I'll put the link to that one in the description. It's open until September 2026. But there's a bigger movement behind this, and it's called the Fairer Share campaign. They've got their own parliamentary petition too, calling for a full independent review of council tax and stamp duty to be replaced with what they call a proportional property tax. Now, I'm not going to tell you that their proposal is perfect. I'm not going to tell you it's a silver bullet. But what I will tell you is that the government has already had to respond to this petition. And that tells you something. It tells you that enough people have signed it, so it can't be ignored anymore. I'll share the actual signature number with you at the end of this video, because I want you to understand the scale of what's actually happening here. What Fairer Share is proposing is a property tax that's actually proportional to what your home is worth. So instead of these old bans from 1991, you'd pay a rate based on the actual current value of your property. And they claim that a significant majority of households in the UK would pay less under that system. I'll tell you exactly how much less at the end. They've even got a calculator on the website where you can put in your property value and see what you'd pay under their proposed system compared to what you pay now. I'll link that in the description too. Now, I want to be fair here. I want to give you both sides. The government did respond to the Fairer Share petition, and their response was essentially this. They said council tax is a settled tax which is understood by taxpayers. They pointed to a collection rate of over 95%. Now, you and I both know that understood taxpayers is a generous description of a system that most people couldn't explain if you'd asked them. And 95% collection rate sounds great until you realise that 5% who can't pay represents over 2 million households. 2 million households in arrears. That's not a success story. That's a sign that the system is pushing to breaking point. And as for settled, well, yeah, it's settled. It's been settled since 1991. That's basically the problem. Nothing's changed. So what can you actually do about this? Firstly, you can sign the petitions, both of them. I'll put the links in the description. Just click, put in your details, and you're done. It takes less than 2 minutes, and it's absolutely free. Second, go to the Fairer Share website and use their calculator. Find out what you'd pay under their proposed system. If it's less than you pay now, and for most of us watching, it probably would be, then share that with your friends and your family, because people don't act on things they don't know about. And not many people know about this, and that's why I'm bringing it to you today. And thirdly, and this is the one I really want you to hear today, share this video. Share it with your neighbours, your family, your group chats, because the petition needs signatures. And signatures come from awareness. Here's how parliamentary petitions work. Excuse me. At 10,000 signatures, the government has to give an official response. At 100,000 signatures, it gets considered for debate at Parliament. That's the threshold, that's the goal. Every single signature moves us closer to that conversation actually happening. Now I told you, I'd tell you at the end the numbers, and here they are. The Fairer Share petition currently has over 72,000 signatures. That's 72,000 people who said enough is enough. This system needs reviewing, and their own campaign page shows over 133,000 people supporting the movement. And Fairer Share's claim they say that 75% of UK households would save more money under their proposed proportional property tax. 75%, 3/4 of the country. The Jessica Wilson abolition petition is much newer, and it's at nearly 700 signatures, and it's growing, and that one needs 10,000 signatures for a government response, and it needs people like you and me to do it. So I want to ask you, how about you? Do you think council tax is fair? Or do you think it's time for a change? Have you checked what you'd pay under a different system? Tell me in the comments, because I genuinely read every one of them, and you know I do because I respond to them. And I want to know where you stand on this, because I think it's amazing. If we can lower one of our bills dramatically, and it's the council tax bill, and we can change this system, I think this is amazing. And if this is something you care about, please do share the video. The more people who know about these petitions, the more signatures they get, and the closer we get to a real conversation about fairness in this country, the better. So thank you. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please take a look at those sites. Please consider it for yourself. And let's do this together. Take care. Remember you're loved, and the world is a better place with you in it. Bye, love.